Welcome to episode 33 of the Play Your Yards Right podcast, the Larry Bird episode, if you will. As always, I'm Sasha here with my wonderful co-hosts, Sarah and Mike, and we're closing in on the end of the NFL season, and we had a good one for you. I had a wonderful time. It was nice. It was just a football-filled weekend where everybody else was focusing on New Year's and celebration, and I was just sweating out football and bets. So I feel like there was really no better way to enjoy the weekend. Usually we go chronologically, but with some of the hotter stuff going on a little bit later, I feel like we need to get the Giants and Rams talk just out of the way because, I mean, really, who cares except for me and maybe a few Rams fans and anybody that put bets on the Rams' future Super Bowl.
Hey, and they also didn't cover, which was my pick.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, Tyrod.
Unbelievable. But honestly, it felt pretty ideal for me. I mean, there were so many other games going on, so it was kind of like paying attention to stuff that mattered more. But like we competed, we looked okay, and then we didn't ruin the decent draft pick. So it all kind of went the way that I wanted it to. Like I felt good about it. We didn't look like shit. We didn't just roll over. We had a few big misses, like there's a 2-point conversion to Saquon, and then there was that big field goal miss at the end. But that kind of felt like it was just taking a page out of Belichick's book from when they lost to us, where it's like you're just not trying to, who cares? Like there's no like I guess it's good for morale to make this kick and win, but realistically, long term, like let's just miss the kick, move on, get to the next year. So, I mean, the punt return was awesome. Tyrod threw for like 320 yards. Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson had a couple big plays. So really my takeaway is just trying to like, what can we do for next year? And it's like, we just need weapons. Like, I don't know what you do with Daniel Jones. Like he's not, I'm not lucky. Unfortunately,
You
not in
got to
this.
pay him.
He already is paid. Like we just got to
Yeah.
keep paying him and hope like, I don't know, like nobody's going to trade for him or that contract. I wouldn't think. Um, like I don't know, our defense looked okay. We've got a few good, like a good spot there where we can like build off of, I guess. But I don't know. I'm just still confused on the path forward. Like we need weapons. Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton can't be like our guys. Paris Campbell was like somebody I was excited about at the beginning of the season, and I think he's had like I don't know, 20 catches. Like you mean who gives a shit? Like I
That's
just
a personal record for Paris Campbell, though.
yeah, it's really big, really really big for Paris Campbell. So. I don't know. We kept as good a draft pick as we're gonna get. And I feel like I don't know if are we gonna spoil the Eagles or the Eagles gonna spoil our draft pick? Like, are we just gonna move from like the 5th pick to like the 8th or 9th because the Eagles can't get their shit together? I don't know. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But honestly, who cares? Giants lose. I guess I'm happy about it. We looked fine. Tyrod, maybe better than Daniel Jones. I don't know.
W would you trade Daniel Jones for Russell Wilson?
No,
Ooh.
no.
What if they threw in like a pick?
Oh, depend. I mean, depending on how good the pick is, and well, because isn't Russell Wilson's contract for another like 6 years?
Broke his computer by oh.
Oh, there
He's
I
so
am.
upset.
Yeah, isn't Russell Wilson's like is for another like 6 years?
Well, no, basically like it's all of next year's guaranteed, and then I think it's like injury protected for the following year. So, but I think if he gets traded, that injury guarantee voids. So it's basically just a huge contract for next year. But they were saying Russell Wilson could screw over if he gets cut. He could then sign with another team for $1 million, the veteran minimum, and then Denver would be forced to still pay $38 million to him.
All right. Well,
But so that's why they're probably going to try to trade him.
well, if that's the case, I'd be fine with that. I wouldn't hate that. I if we can pay him $1 million, not go into cap hell, and not have him for the next like 5 years, whatever. I'd rather be a joke of a franchise, and I'm pretty sure Danny DeVito's agent knows somebody with in the sanitation business and might be willing to break his kneecap, and we can figure out how to get out of this.
So you think he could be a better option than a healthy Daniel Jones?
For the long term, I mean, because what we just signed that long, it's a relatively long term deal. Again, I feel like there's always outs in these contracts. I don't know how long realistically we have to like be on the hook for Daniel Jones. Do I think he's going to get us to a Super Bowl? No, I mean, so it's like if he's not the guy, then I guess it's the process of finding a guy that might. But realistically, before Eli won one, I didn't exactly know that he was going to be the guy that get us to a Super Bowl either. But we had an incredible defense, and we had people like Plaxico Burress and Jeremy Shockey, and they were like actually We had some talented, whatever the Brandon Jacobs of the world, the Ahmad Bradley. We had some talented pieces. Now it's like we have Saquon and then I don't know, some college teams receivers. So
I wonder if you guys take Michael Penix with your pick.
I think he's like 46 years old, right?
He's like 24 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just,
It's like if you and me were playing at a local high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dunking on people.
I think how old isn't that like how old like Lamar is? Isn't that how old Trevor Lawrence is?
Yeah, it is.
So I don't know. I guess I don't know who to trust. I've just kind of resigned myself to we're just going to throw a bunch of random guys out there and somehow put up a fight. So it's just going to be hard for me to watch that Eagles game. I'm going to want us to win. I'm going to want us to lose. I'm not going to know how to feel, and I feel like I'll just be mad no matter what. But I guess what I'm more curious about is Sarah. Do you even feel good about stealing a win like that at home? You can't feel good about those. I don't know how much money Jerry Jones had to pay those refs, but I don't even know if that feels good.
No, it does feel good because as a Cowboys fan, we've been on the other end of games ending in that fashion, which is bad calls for so many times that I feel like we finally got a little bit of payback for the years of just slander against the NFL refs. Maybe that's the Cowboys fan speaking in me, but I mean, it was an incredible game. It was a much lower scoring than I think anyone thought, but still just like a very intense, fun game to watch. Honestly, I'm jumping forward to the end of the game, but I was literally face down on my bed, unable to watch the first 2-point conversion attempt because I was like, I don't know. I didn't know what to think. I was like, I don't want to watch it because I feel like I'm going to need to like jump at the TV or something. And I watched the other attempts, but it was just one of those games where I was just face down and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I had to concede defeat. Once again, though, Mike McCarthy, like I could go on and on. I'll keep it brief for this podcast today, but here he is again. He basically blew the game for the second week in a row. He's becoming so greedy with like just over or under 2 minutes left in the game. He is trying to put, the final nail in the coffin, throwing the ball down the field, forgetting there's such thing as clock management. And I mean that he's our Achilles heel, clearly. I think I've been saying that since last year. I'm going to continue to stand by it. His play calling has continued to decline throughout the season. They're still winning some games, but I mean, it's ultimately once again going to be, we go as far as Mike McCarthy goes. I think Dak clearly proved this year that it's not as far as Dak goes. It's as far as Mike McCarthy goes because he's the limiting factor here. So on the other side of coaching, I mean, Dan Campbell, we all knew he was insane, but like this really solidified that because
next
who
level
goes for it? Like it was pure chaos out there. I feel like you have to reset and go for overtime. Even like maybe before the first or this. You just need to take a step back, get your team in line, pray that you win the coin toss. And even so, their defense was stop the Cowboys quite a few times. So I don't understand that decision making on his end, but I guess it's just him sticking to his guns there.
I kind of liked it. I liked it in the moment. It was exciting. I was like, I mean, it's just epitome of we are who we are. We're doing this. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care what we're supposed to do. We're a team that goes for it, and we're just going to keep going for it. I do think, I guess I want to get your guys' opinions on also, like, if they hadn't already clinched the division, is there any way you think he continues to go for it?
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. He's nuts.
He was not thinking at all. Like there was no hesitation anytime.
But part of me also thinks that the guys, like he in the locker room, they're like, we're in on this guy. Like he is who he is, no matter what. We have this DNA. We have, this is in our blood. We go for it. We decide we're going to go and try to win. Like, I mean, I get that. Like, listen, we've already won the division. There's not like a ton that they're playing for. I think the Cowboys had, more to gain or more to lose in that game. But I don't know. I like what it does to the team. I hope it motivates them and it doesn't like do the opposite of like, oh man, like I don't know if they're in the locker room being like, man, we really could have fucking won that game if we just like kicked the extra point and went to overtime. We really had a shot. But I don't think that Dan Campbell is building that kind of team and building that kind of like feelings.
Got to demoralize the defense a little bit.
But they weren't on the field for it. Like they didn't give anything else up. Like,
no, I mean like,
job.
But I mean, like you can kick that's a gimme field goal. And if I were like, a defensive captain, I'd be like, he just does not trust that we could stop them if they get the ball from scoring. I don't
I
know. That
feel
would be
like
the only downside, but I think they're behind him.
Yeah.
I think it's just their identity. Like, I think he's just creating this to be their team identity. And just because it's their identity doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to be right. But I think the locker room and team believe in it and are behind him. But again, that doesn't always mean it's right. Just like I feel like sometimes you have to take a step back. And when you're like so hard headed about something, that maybe you need to step back and like reevaluate. If
Yeah.
that's always for the best interest.
All these coaches need like a game plan, time management coach, because there's got to be somebody who maybe can't override him, but that's got to be like, look, under 2 minutes, I have to have your ear here as to what we need to do. And I'm sure in his headset, it's like analytics are saying no, da da da. But there's got to be somebody that this guy trusts that's like a peer or even a mentor that's like, don't do this right now. But I think you're right that they had a lot less to lose by losing the game. But at the
Right.
same time, the number 1 seed was at stake potentially.
Yeah.
And they could have forced San Francisco to have to really take this next week seriously, which could have then, I mean, you don't want injuries, but I'm sure at the NFL level, it's like, let's make them give McCaffrey 25 more carries and see if he hurts himself.
Yeah.
And the Lions are such a different team at home where if they don't have to go on the road, don't have to go outside, don't have to go play wherever. So yeah, no, I think you are right.
McCarthy made a very Sean McDermott mistake too, which I didn't like at the end there. He burned one of his timeouts. And it's like, your kicker can kick the ball from 80 yards. He's the best kicker I've ever seen. He's better than maybe not Justin Tucker, but I think he's got a strong, if not stronger, maybe stronger of a leg. He hasn't missed a kick yet.
I know.
With 40 seconds, if you save those timeouts, that's way more than enough time to get in field goal range.
I know.
Stupid.
Ever had the game with the multiple 50-yarders, like Mike McCarthy hasn't even given him the opportunity to come out there or do that again. Like we had a few weeks ago against the Dolphins when he just let the clock run out at the end of the half, like all these situations. And it's like the fact that he hasn't even pushed the envelope here with like a 60+ yarder when the opportunity is right is just so irritating. But overall,
he's the ultimate weapon.
He is. Yeah. Mike McCarthy is the ultimate weapon.
Right.
I mean, overall, CD was great, breaking the franchise record on receiving yards and receptions. There was a Jimmy Johnson Ring of Honor induction during halftime. Let's hope that broke the curse that people are saying might be around the Cowboys because of that. We'll see. Dak played pretty decent. Offensive line is still in shambles. So aside from Mike McCarthy, that is where our next biggest focus is obviously going to be going into the playoffs. We need a healthy Tyler Smith. Tyron Smith is out there as a shell of himself. Zach Martin even hasn't looked that great. So we need the offensive line to really make it through the rest of the season healthy. And lastly, I mean, I need more from Micah Parsons. I feel like he's talking a lot, way too much lately, and he's not really putting up the numbers. He's been quiet lately. It was nice to see DeMarcus Lawrence out there making some big plays. I know obviously like coverage wise, he's getting double teamed, he's getting held like crazy. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I'm sick of like the announcers singing his praises every game when he's really hasn't been doing very much over the past few weeks.
I like that. I think that makes sense. And but I also think a little bit is every offensive coordinator is kind of only worried about Micah Parsons. I mean, I get it that there are some players like Aaron Donald where it's like all week the offensive line and everybody in the offense is like, look out for 99, look out for 99, look out for 99. And like he can still break through and make some plays. But as long as if Micah Parsons can draw double teams and let those other guys cook, like, I guess that, there is a part of that is his job.
Yeah, for sure. And I know we're going to get into the Eagles, but segue here. Can we believe the Cowboys still have a chance for the NFC East? I was calling it as good as dead. We were with our friends and one of them is an Eagles fan literally Saturday before this game. And I was like, yeah, I gave up my hopes on the NFC East here. Like it just, I was like, the Eagles can't possibly lose another game. Here we are sitting after the loss to the Cardinals. And all the Cowboys need is to beat the Commanders this week. And I mean, I think we all know how big home field advantage will be for them if they're able to get that. They've scored 279 points at home this year. Like, that's insane. Absolutely insane. So that would be absolutely huge if we are able to come away with that after this weekend.
I think you have the Giants to thank a lot for that. So you're welcome.
80 of those points.
But before we get too far away from it, you were talking about Brandon Aubrey. Is there, maybe this is a little crazy and a little backwards thinking of me. Is there any part of you, I mean, because kickers tend to be very, I don't know, quirky individuals, I guess you could say. Is there any part of you that's worried that he hasn't missed a kick yet? Maybe he misses
Yeah.
one in the first game, maybe he misses one next week, and then all of a sudden doesn't know, goes Blair Walsh on us and doesn't know how to kick again.
I don't know if you're trying to trigger me with the Brett Maher meltdown of last year in the playoffs when he like absolutely went psychologically insane, unable to make like a chippy field goal. But yes, that does worry me. I would like him to kind of just get that past him and make another one after that going into the playoffs. But I don't know. He's a machine though. He's not even
He
sketchy
seems
kicking these.
automatic.
So yeah,
He
I'm
seems
not.
it.
I guess
He seems
I
it.
don't know.
Just saying.
But yes.
You never know. And I just want, before we get away from it too, I just want to make sure I did find the picture. This is the still frame of Taylor Decker
Oh my
reporting
God.
right there behind me. So those of you on the YouTube can check in and make sure, just so that did in fact happen. So
It doesn't look that tricky to me.
yeah.
Looks like he reported.
But anyway, what happened. Congratulations. And now getting to your possible NFC East victory, we could talk about the absolute shambles of the Eagles. Sarah, I got to say, since we've been talking about this since early on in the season, we've just been waiting for this Eagles collapse. And I got to tell you, I didn't expect it to happen this hard.
No, I was like watching this game and I was like, oh, this is not possible to be happening. And it's shocking. I don't even think I've processed it yet. This ultimate like downfall. I mean, people are calling for Sirianni's job at this point, which is like crazy, but I love it at the same time.
Yeah. And it's also so Philly. Like if you took away the records and had like a Philly fan woke up from a coma today and like didn't know what their record was and just went on Twitter and was seeing the way that the Philly fans were talking about their coach, about everything, you would think that they were like 5-11, 6-10. It's like they could win. They still have every opportunity to just, basically have two home playoff games.
Yeah.
But they just do not look like the same team that they were last year. I guess they're just like the team they were earlier this season, but not catching any breaks. And maybe people have just found out like that their defense is not good beyond the line. Like if they can stop the rush, their defensive rush, like their secondary and linebackers are just horrendous. So it's pretty fun to watch them flounder. Losing to the Cardinals, Giants couldn't do that. Couldn't be the Giants. They beat the Cardinals. So that's all I have to say. But fuck the Eagles, and I don't know, like what should I be rooting for? I can't root for the Giants, right? But I also like it'd be really, really funny to watch.
You can. It's not that big of a pick swing, I don't think.
I think it's like 5-8 or 5-9.
You're keeping the same coach. You're keeping the same front office. You're going to try to retain a lot of your young players. It's not a total rebuild where it's like if you go out on a high note, like I think that could carry over. Dable wants to win. I wouldn't doubt that at all. They're not trying to tank.
All right, fuck it.
A divisional win is always good.
Yeah.
You have to go for that.
Especially you can.
And they're at home.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can like get excited. I'm like, oh, now the Eagles won't win the division. But then like that just means the Cowboys are going to win the division. Like that also sucks. But I guess it means, if we could beat the Eagles in this year when, I guess preseason, it's like, oh, they're probably going to make it back to the Super Bowl to where they've come now. Like it would feel pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, for sure.
Jalen
Agreed.
Hurts, not the guy anymore.
Sirianni's going to get fired, guys.
Yeah.
There was
He's been exposed.
I listened to a podcast where they had somebody on who's like a real insider who was saying that like maybe this was part of my take. I don't think it was. They were saying there's 2 NFC East coaches that are probably going to get fired. Yeah. Obviously, one of them being Ron Rivera, and then Dable. I don't think Dable is going to get fired, and I don't think McCarthy's going to get fired. And so I think Sirianni's going to lose his job.
Yeah, I think he's more likely than McCarthy.
I agree. That would just be so funny. It would be so funny.
I know.
But who are they? I guess they have enough talent. You would think that they're probably just going to be able to get somebody else in. It's part of the reason I want the Cowboys to keep McCarthy. It's like, yeah, I don't really trust them in the playoffs. It's the same thing. I don't really trust Sirianni. And but
McCarthy's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
if he might win, he could win 2 Super Bowls. His whole legacy could be like. A lot of people didn't trust Andy Reid. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Andy Reid was a huge loser. And now he's like, in their talks of the best coach ever.
Yeah.
Had to leave the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, though.
Yeah. Well, it's true. Yeah. There you go.
So, Mike, Bills kept it a little more stressful than I think we all expected. Listen, Josh brought you to the win, but I got to tell you,
Easy, buddy. Easy.
I think
Easy now.
I think the Patriots handed that one to you a little bit. They couldn't stop giving you
Yeah.
the ball.
Well, they scored the opening kickoff touchdown. That was great. That was a highlight because we were a little behind to start it. And the text messages started coming in, and slowly people went on my list of do not text me during Bills games ever again.
Yeah.
Because like you know, send a text if it's like if I get an early text, I just assume like great things have happened. And so I'm
Right.
like, let's fire this up. Let's go New Year's Eve. And turn on, it's an opening kickoff touchdown. And I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, they can no longer text during Bills games. I'm like, that is a cardinal sin. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a win is a win. We're on a 4-game winning streak or 5-game winning streak now. 4? I think it's 4. We took care of the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Patriots. So we're on a 4-game winning streak. I told you guys 4 weeks ago we needed to win out. We're doing exactly what we need to do. These games aren't going to be pretty. New England's defense is awesome. They play hard for Belichick. Is it a 4-game? It's 4 games, right?
It was Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers,
4
Patriots. Yeah,
games.
you
Yep,
lost to
yep.
the Eagles by 3.
On a miraculous kick. It's one psycho kick away from a 6-game winning streak. But you know, New England plays a very physical brand of football. They like nobody could get open. Josh Allen he was trying really hard. He was pushing all the buttons and making lateral passes and fumbling. It was, you know, and then he threw a terrible pick because I think he was just so like frustrated with not being able to get people that he's just trying to like throw them open, which doesn't work. But they did what they need to do. Rasul Douglas is the greatest midseason trade ever. I think I said last week, besides maybe Von Miller to the Rams, dude, he's got the most turnovers in the NFL since he's been acquired by us. He had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery yesterday.
It's insane.
We got him for a 3rd-round pick we gave up. We also got a 5th-round pick back. So we basically traded down 30 spots and got our number 1 cornerback.
That's amazing. Especially, I mean, the difference that he's made on your defense with all the injuries that you guys had.
Oh my God.
That defense started to look a little porous. I mean, and then all of a sudden it's like you guys are just shutting so what I think the Chargers scoring 22 is the most points. I mean, obviously the Eagles scored 37, and then in your 4-game winning streak, you held the Chiefs to 17, Cowboys to 10, Chargers to 22, and then the Patriots scored 21, and one of those, 7 of those points were on special teams.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, our defense has been incredible. And like, this is like a down quarterback year, I feel like, in the NFL. And Rasul Douglas's like big thing is he's a ball hawk. So he cheats on routes and he does these things. And it's like, when you don't have elite quarterback play, this guy is going to like eat. And in our zone scheme defense with really good linebackers, he is able to take a lot more chances because we're covering a lot of the field. And Christian Benford on the other side, like we went from having a cornerback room in shambles to, I think, like at the level of anybody else in the league.
That's
like
crazy.
on a good day. And Terrell Bernard, the middle linebacker, he's recorded a stat that was like it was something like he has 6 forced fumbles. Hold on, I can look this up. He's having like an all-time season, and people don't talk about, like, people aren't realizing how like incredible he is. I'll tell you right now. He's got 6.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries, and 10 tackles for loss. And it's like the first time that's happened since 1992. Since 1991, excuse me.
It's pretty crazy.
He's the first player since 1991 to have a season with that in his essentially rookie year, his first year playing. So he's been lights out. James Cook didn't fumble. I mean,
good.
the little things. and it must have been hard for us to not look ahead to Miami.
Yeah.
It's an enormous game. It's going to be pretty crazy, and that kind of goes into some playoff clinching implications. I mean, so what is there is a world where Sunday night that game could be going on, and the Bills are playing to either win the division and clinch the 2nd seed or be out of the playoffs.
That's right. If Pittsburgh and Jacksonville win, then Sunday night is either the 2 seed, the NFC East title, or eliminated.
That's insane.
That's
So
insane.
you know that's going to be what happens.
So overall, who are you rooting for again? So there's the Texans Colts game.
The Bills.
I know
against the
that. But going into that game, so the Texans and Colts, that's a win. That's a win and get in game. And then so the Colts are in with the Jags loss. The Texans need to win to get in. Then if the Jags win, they clinch the AFC South title. Well, what was the scenario where the Bills...
So the only teams we're concerned about are Jacksonville and Pittsburgh. We just need one of them to lose. Pittsburgh plays Baltimore's backups, and Jacksonville's playing the Titans on the road. But Trevor Lawrence, it's still not official if he's playing. Okay. And they have just been really shitty. And Ryan Tannehill's playing for another contract, and Vrabel. I hope Vrabel's going to put up a fight. I mean, they got stomped by Houston last week, but I also think Mason Rudolph. I've seen enough of Mason Rudolph.
Yeah,
I know what that guy is. It's nice. He's had a couple good games. That's cute. If Baltimore's defense is so good that how good is their second string? Probably really good.
Yeah.
There's only so many roster spots on a team. So and you guys watch your own teams in depth. The second and third replacement players because they play every week. So a defense isn't elite just because of their first string. It's a defense becomes elite by having layers. So we're just going to see the other layers of Baltimore, and they're so good. Yeah. So I just imagine whoever they're subbing in is also going to be good. And I think that they don't want to. A couple of years ago, they had the 1 seed and they rested everybody, and then they came out and they lost the first week that they played. I think it was to the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just they just don't want to get anybody injured. I do think there is something to almost treating it like your last preseason game. Have the starters play a half or something, have them play a quarter.
Yeah,
and just
it'll be 19 days. It'll be 19 days between Lamar Jackson's last start. That's risky.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I don't love that. I mean, I get it. It's catastrophic injury. Oh my God. But if you rest everybody and they come out and they need 2 quarters to ramp up and they go down by 2 scores, that's also a different Baltimore team.
Agreed.
Playing from behind.
So it's a weird one.
We just got to beat the Dolphins because I also want the 2 seed. I want 2 games in Buffalo. Yeah. Potentially 3.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah. So
we might have to get you to one of those.
Oh, I don't think I would survive it. I'd light myself on fire, jumping through a table like that guy. The Dolphins are banged up. I think their morale is in the tank. It looks like no Waddle, looks like no Xavier Howard for sure. Definitely no Bradley Chubb. I don't think Tua is the same guy without both of those weapons. Yeah, and we kicked the shit out of them when they were healthy. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, Bradley Chubb being out is, I think, a huge problem for them long-term down the playoffs. And also Tyreek Hill, I don't know if you saw that. His house is just on fire today.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So I wonder how that happened.
So that was on live stream now. Apparently they're putting that out. Him and his family, I guess, were okay, but that's a little extra drama. Not sure if that means bet him to score a touchdown or if that means that he's going to have his mind somewhere his mind elsewhere. But going into a weird week 18, Mike, we've touched on this, I think, a little bit last week. The bets can be a little bit tricky, a little bit finicky. So I'm curious to see where you're going to go last week. So you ended up 3-3 last week. But if you're betting all just single units, you ended up significantly in the plus margin because of those Thursday props. Both the Cleveland D and the Jets defense both scored in the first half. Mike ended up getting, feeling a little crazy, really feeling himself, and parlayed them both and had a significant payday. I was happy with just the single straight bets, which is pretty wonderful. And then on that, the Commanders 49ers under, you nailed that one. And then the old Giants, they stuck around, end up covering. Carolina looked embarrassingly sad.
And that was a mistake. Yeah.
And then the Steelers ended up coming back and winning. And then you did and then you had Kansas City. They covered. I think they won by 8, so they covered that 7-point spread for you.
It's another Uber lock win too.
Uber locks are extra hot. So
Mhm.
The
Obviously,
stinky dog was 0 for 3.
yeah. Listen, what are you gonna
Yeah.
do? That's extra stinky, and you let us know about that. But that's fine. That's why all you got to do is win one of those, which you already did, and it's paying for the rest. So this week,
That's right.
week 18, you mentioned it before. Who knows who's playing? Weird shit can happen. There's no Thursday game, so we're out of the Thursday props. Let us know what you're thinking, Mike.
Quick shout out to my fantasy football team. Nobody wants to hear about fantasy football, but I did come in first place in my big money
Congrats.
Champions League. Shout out Josh Allen, my guy right here behind me. CeeDee Lamb, thank you, Sarah. CeeDee Lamb
Mhm.
went off. And shout out myself for picking up Kaimi Fairbairn, who had
Shout out.
16 points as a kicker, adding
Wow.
Rashee Rice. What a good job, GM, and having Cleveland's defense. So just shout out to me. That's our
Congrats.
fantasy corner. That's going to replace our Propapalooza.
Good.
Me
Mhm.
kissing my own ass. So I'll give you week 18. I have a few bets here. So I was like, week 18, don't bet it. But there are some games of note. I think you're a crazy person, and I'm sure I will be on Sunday if you're betting like games where neither team have an interest, because like, how do you do it? But people bet bowl games and the same thing. So I'm just gonna stick to games that matter.
Yeah,
And
I like that.
Just so you guys, I do love them all.
Good.
So there's no likes in here.
Pick them and win them. That's it. Just pick them and win them.
That's it. We're gonna do the same strategy. You guys know by now. Everybody say it with me. Pick the bets, win the bets.
Mhm.
Number one, and some of these are betting with my heart too, so be careful. Baltimore +4 at home versus Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I just we just talked about it, and also like the script writers, they want Josh Allen in the playoffs. This is an easy way to get him in. Obviously, +4 covers you in case I'm wrong. I don't think Pittsburgh's beaten them by more than a field goal. On the road, pressure on
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph. No thanks.
Yeah, I think
It's not Christmas
yeah.
anymore,
I like it.
Rudolph.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you're at home, if you're in Baltimore, I think the fans may be enough. There's enough hatred to Pittsburgh there that will
Yeah.
we'll keep it close.
And you don't think Harbaugh wants a win just to like have more momentum? Not like,
Mhm.
oh, everything was awesome, and then we got our doors blown off by the Steelers, who
Right.
now maybe we're playing in 2 weeks. No
Yeah.
thanks. You got a chance to kill a playoff team, you kill them.
Mhm.
Next, going against my guy Shane Steichen, I'm taking Texans -1.5 in Indianapolis.
At Indy. Okay.
This is a strictly quarterback bet.
Okay.
CJ Stroud is better than Gardner Minshew. I think the better quarterback's going to win this game, and I've loved Shane Steichen all year, and it's a hell of a story, and he should be coach of the year, I think, for what he's done the most with the least. But I think Stroud is a winner, so I think they're gonna win this game. Yeah. I mean, it's a pick 'em basically, but
It is.
there might.
Yeah.
But look at remember what we know, when you're a home team, the spread is immediately 3 points, right? Because you get the home field. So technically, Vegas also thinks Houston's going to win this game.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know what to think on this one. I have no insight.
I just don't see. I think Minshew's a great story. I think he's a great backup. I think he's a good player. But this has got to end. The run's got to end. I don't think there's going to be backup quarterbacks in these playoffs except for Joe Flacco.
Mhm.
The next one I got is actually this breaks my rule of no implications. So see, I'm crazy by the third bet in. But I feel like this does have implications.
But
so
the funniest part is you made the rule.
I know. I made the rule and then I kept reading down. Actually, the next 2 games technically have no impact. But I'm going to tell you why. This is why I'm the expert. Raiders -2.5 at home versus Denver.
Okay.
Pretty simple. They're going to fight for their coach, and I don't know what's going on in Denver.
Yeah, all bad vibes there. I agree. I think that makes sense.
Super bad.
That line
they're
seems
getting
silly.
investigated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Oakland,
getting, well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, they're getting investigated by the Players Association for trying to threaten Russell Wilson to change his contract.
Mhm.
Like I could see this being another what gate was that? What was the thing that got
Bounty.
Peyton suspended?
Bounty
Bounty
gate.
gate. This I could see this being a thing where in 3 months Sean Payton like quits
Yeah.
because he's in trouble. It sounds like what they did was not kosher. So
Yeah.
I'm with that. Yeah, he seems like a piece of shit, and it's actually making me feel bad for Russell Wilson, which I didn't think was possible.
I know, me too.
I know.
That's why I want to get him on the Giants. Get him somewhere.
Yeah.
Get him somewhere safe.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just guessing the Raiders want Antonio Pierce to be their coach. Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver on the field, and I think whoever the Raiders are going to put out at running back is better than what Javonte Williams has been. So go with the Raiders. It's just a field goal. I think it's
Convinced.
not
I
going to
like
be a
that.
pretty game.
Yeah.
I like it too.
Next, Kansas City plus 3.5 at the Chargers. Now, technically, this game doesn't count because Kansas City is locked into the 3 seed, and they're going to bench Mahomes, so it's not going to be Mahomes.
Yeah,
and
I hate that, but I also think it makes sense because I don't think the Chargers can beat anybody by 3 points.
No, I thought the same thing when I saw this. I was
yeah,
not understanding.
my note here is that the Chargers players already have their vacations booked. So like their plane leaves right after this game and they are going on vacation. They're going to go spend their millions of dollars. I don't see these guys putting it all on the line. In Kansas City, you have a lot of chances for if somebody has a great game. Shit, you could be the number 2 receiver on the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet, and it's Easton Stick. The Kansas City defense is still decent, and it's still going to be Easton Stick, right?
Yeah. Same rule again. If you like Kansas City has lost some games, but if you look back, it's been a lot of bad Mahomes shit. It's not the defense giving up points.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the Chargers have to catch a flight and they're getting out of there.
Right. They'll be at LAX at 7 p.m.
Their lockers are packed up before they head out on the field. They're getting the fuck out of there. So, that coach is gone after this game. He's not he's GIF. You don't even need to remember his name. He's just going to be a GIF one day.
Nailed it.
He's gone. It's not like he's going to get thank you. He's not going to get the job. So it's like,
no,
this is just, nope. So give me the Chiefs plus 3.5. They need some momentum too. My Uber lock is a big spoiler, guys. Look behind me.
No way.
Look who's barreling down. This is why you got to tune into the YouTube, guys. My boy Josh Allen minus 3.5. Not even the Bills, just Josh Allen at this point. -3, not minus 3.5.
I'm seeing 3. Yeah.
At Miami, that's an insult line. The Miami's banged up. The Bills, Josh Allen owns the Miami Dolphins. Owns them. I think statistically, he's the best against them out of anybody in the league that he's played against. I'm trying to. That stat was like right here, and I can't find. Anyways, he's got an incredible. Look it up. He's incredible against Miami. The Bills are playing. I'm going to guess that the Bills are going to be playing to make the playoffs. On top of that, I don't think Miami's the same without Jalen Waddle. And let's just talk points. I can't believe it's only 3 points.
Well, like we were just talking about before, home team gets 3. So really it's kind of a 6-point swing.
Yeah.
I know. But I thought that would have been like Bills -4.5, -5. And I think we know how to handle Tua. I think our defense is really good against a player like Tua. Raheem Mostert and A-Chain have not been. They've been good statistically all year, but the last couple of weeks has not been the same type of thing. And I think Miami's played 4 teams over 500, and they have a point differential of like -90. Like they've lost those games by a combined 90 points.
I think they get crushed.
They're 1-4. Yeah.
And so I do have it here for
Wow.
you. In his career, Josh Allen has played 11 games against Miami. He is 9-2. For 3,004 yards and 31 touchdowns, only 5 picks.
And 110.8 passer rating.
Yes.
Do you want to know Tua's? I just found it. You want to know Tua's stats versus Buffalo?
Mm-hmm.
He's 1-5 with 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a 79.6 passer rating.
Not great.
Not good. So I don't know. I mean, it's it's a division team, and the Bills are going to be playing with their hair on fire.
Yeah.
So just come on, Josh Allen. Josh Allen all day. I think this is going to be like a real, like, I think he's going to play his ass off. I do. I think we've been keeping Diggs like really healthy. I think he's going to have more of an impact. Without Xavier Howard out there, they've got Jalen Ramsey. Do you know who kills Jalen Ramsey? Stephon Diggs. Look up Diggs versus Ramsey highlights. It's like he has torched him numerous times in his career.
Yes,
so
you're getting
that's
a little
what I got.
You're getting a little too far in my stat knowledge. I don't know if I can. I don't have that quickly. You have a stinky dog for us? They're all stinky dogs. I feel like this whole spread is stinky. What are you feeling?
I've got a stinky, and again, this goes. This take it or don't. It's really high odds. This will be fun. Maybe we'll end the year on top. Such a fun one for you in here.
Ooh.
Give me the Bears money line in Green Bay.
Oh, I like that. That's going to be fun.
Divisional rivalry. Fields is going to stay. I think they're keeping him as the quarterback. I think they're trading that number 1 pick. Eberflus is going to stay. They have a lot to build on. I think they're going to beat the Packers handedly. They are going to try to spoil their season.
Like it.
That give me Baltimore to win versus Pittsburgh at home.
We all like that one.
I'm just, and Giants to beat Philly.
Ooh, that's disgusting.
Philly is a mess, and Tyrod is a steady hand that can steer the ship. I think the Giants are going to play really hard at home. I think Philly is, it's really hard to wash that off. You kept waiting to see Kansas City turn it around, and they had to kick 6 straight field goals to beat the Bengals. Like when your offense and your defense, when you have a unit that's shot, it just doesn't come back like that.
I like that a lot.
I like Tyrod. I like him to slow the game down and Giants to take him out. And that's plus 17-27.
I plugged the wrong one in. That's nothing seems too crazy there either, except
17-1.
17. I like that a lot.
That's hell of it.
I also, even if anything, just over 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure that the Giants versus the Eagles, like 2 weeks ago, whenever we played, I think the line was like 14-15. Now the line is what, 5.5. So that just shows what those teams have done in the last last literally 1 week. So pretty hilarious.
All divisional games, and they're all divisional games,
which always scares me a little bit.
A lot of history there.
I like Bears. Oh man, if New York beats Philly there, that is just going to be so demoralizing for them and really funny. But I love that 17-27 especially. So little recap for the week. We got the loves: Baltimore +4 versus Pittsburgh, Houston -1.5 at Indy, Oakland -2.5 versus Denver, and we get Kansas City +3.5 at the Chargers. Uberlock, no surprises here. Buffalo -3 at Miami, and then we got the +17-27 stinky dog: Bears money line, Baltimore money line, and Giants money line. Let's finish the year on a high note, and then going into the playoffs, I think we talked a little bit about this. We're going to start actually doing some unit betting and figure out, as opposed to just a percentage, how if we're tailing moving forward, how good we're looking. So I think that'll be a little bit exciting too. And I'm just excited for football that means something. Playoff football, it always gets the juices flowing. I like the little Saturdays. Sunday gets a little crazy with all those games at 1 o'clock, but this is the best. What's not the love?
Yeah.
And
it's good.
God forbid maybe that Uberlock doesn't hit. We'll hopefully still have Mike on the podcast.
Hopefully he's still on this planet.
Yeah,
that's all. Just want to stay in this plane of existence.
It's just want to keep Eddie's dad around as long as we can.
That poor kid has no idea.
Yeah,
thank God.
So I unfortunately need to run out of here. Mom's birthday. Shout out mom. Shout out the moms all over.
Shout out moms.
Shout out moms. So
shout out birthdays.
Shout out birthdays. So as always, follow us on Instagram at Play Your Yards Right. Follow Mike Play Your Bets Right on X. Watch us on YouTube, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Those YouTube numbers are always fun too. Listen, you get to see our beautiful faces. You get to see the beautiful stats that we have, information that we bring with us. So it's all good here. We love you all. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you next time.